Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be exploring how to keep our recovery steady through special events. Those gatherings that bring people together, but can also awaken old stress inside us. Holidays, vacations, birthdays, weddings, reunions. These moments are supposed to be joyful, yet they often stir mixed feelings. They gather the people we love, but also the patterns that once kept us unwell. Even before the event arrives, many of us can feel it in the body, a tightening in the chest, a restless mind rehearsing conversations, that subtle worry about how we'll handle what's going on. Our goal in today's lesson is to understand what's happening inside the body and brain during these moments and to practice ways to bring calm, clarity, and connection wherever we go. Special events can bring equal measures of joy and strain. Long before the day arrives, the body begins to react, tightening muscles, quickening thoughts, and preparing for the unpredictable. This happens because the brain remembers last year's chaos or exhaustion. It replays those memories as if they're happening again. The mind paints vivid pictures, and the body believes them. This is called anticipatory stress, and it's not a flaw in our willpower. It's biology. The nervous system's job is to prepare for what might come next. When it recognizes familiar cues, it replays the old program: protect, prepare, perform. The heart beats faster, digestion slows, thoughts loop. Even pleasant anticipation can trigger the same stress chemistry, because the body can't always tell the difference between excitement and anxiety. When we notice this and name it, my body is simply remembering, we interrupt the loop. That awareness tells the brain's alarm center that we're safe now. Each small recognition lowers the volume of the body's alarm, giving the prefrontal cortex, the rational, calm part of the brain, room to lead again. The days before a gathering often carry their own weather. There's shopping to do, logistics to manage, messages to send. Each little detail adds a signal of pressure to the body. Without realizing it, we hold our breath, we tighten our shoulders, and replay conversations in our minds. These are ways that the nervous system tries to predict the future so that it won't be surprised. Predictability is one of the brain's favorite forms of safety. When we don't know what will happen, who will show up, how we'll be perceived, or whether others will respect our choices, the system raises its guard. That protection may show up as irritability, fatigue, or a sudden wish to cancel plans. When we understand that, we can stop judging ourselves for it. Nothing is wrong with us for feeling dread about events that are supposed to be fun. The body is simply remembering the unpredictability of past gatherings. And once we see that, those old stories stop being threats. They become information that we can work with. Family and cultural traditions hold deep emotional meaning. The sights, sounds, and rhythms of certain holidays can instantly transport us to childhood. Sometimes those memories feel comforting, but sometimes they carry unease. That's because the body links environments to the feelings that followed them. If certain celebrations once ended in exhaustion or guilt, the body now braces for those same emotions again, even before the first guest arrives. This is emotional conditioning at work. The amygdala and hippocampus in our brain pair sensory cues with emotional outcomes. So when the decorations go up, tension can rise automatically. Seeing this clearly changes everything. Instead of being swept into the here we go again, we can recognize what's happening. The body is trying to protect us by predicting pain. But that prediction is just an old chemical habit, not destiny. Each time we meet those moments gently, the brain gathers new evidence that celebration can coexist with peace. That's how we rewire emotional memory, one calm experience at a time. Vacations promise rest, yet they often deliver stress. New schedules, unfamiliar beds, airports, and time zones unsettle the rhythm that keeps the nervous system balanced. Our internal systems crave steady cues, consistent sleep, familiar environments, known routines. When those vanish, the body sends out subtle alarms: restlessness, irritability, forgetfulness, or the impulse to throw structure aside and just enjoy. These sensations aren't failure. They're the body's attempt to find balance in an unfamiliar setting. The nervous system is scanning for stability. When we offer it small, predictable signals, enough sleep, hydration, a few quiet minutes of breathing, we remind the vagus nerve that safety travels with us. Those signals calm heart rate, support digestion, and release serotonin, the chemistry of well-being. The calmer we stay, the faster the body adapts. Travel shifts from being a test of control to an opportunity for genuine restoration. Large celebrations, conferences, or festivals often carry a collective excitement that can sweep us away. The lights, the music, the movement, they flood our nervous system with stimulation. For some people, that current feels exhilarating. For others, it feels like being caught in a wave too strong to swim against. Both responses are completely normal. The body is just processing high sensory input. This surge of energy triggers dopamine and adrenaline, the same chemicals that once bonded communities through song and dance. Today, they appear at weddings, concerts, or holiday parties, reminding the brain that we belong. Awareness lets us enjoy the atmosphere without losing ourselves in it. When we notice the rise of energy and let it move through instead of fighting it, the prefrontal cortex stays online. We can match the joy of the crowd while keeping a steady inner rhythm, connected but grounded. The stress system always works in cycles. Tension builds, peaks, and then looks for release. In the past, release might have come from giving in, matching the group's behavior, pleasing others, or using food to quiet discomfort. The quick relief felt like safety because cortisol dropped for a moment. But in recovery, we're teaching the body a new ending. Relief now comes from calm awareness rather than surrender. When we breathe deeply, feel our feet on the floor, and let emotions rise and fall, we send a different message through the vagus nerve. The danger has passed, and I remained whole. Each time we stay present through that wave, The nervous system learns that calm is safe. Over time, it starts to prefer the slower, steadier comfort instead of the old spike and crash cycle. Long before a special event begins, the body starts practicing how it expects to feel. When we imagine a crowded room or a noisy airport, the same chemical messengers that respond to real stress begin to circulate. That's why visualization is powerful. When we picture ourselves steady and at ease, the nervous system rehearses calm instead of panic. Breathing slows, muscles relax, and soothing neurotransmitters like serotonin replace the surge of adrenaline. Every repetition strengthens those neural connections. The more we picture ourselves moving through gatherings with ease, the easier it becomes to live that way. The body doesn't know the difference between practice and experience. It learns through emotion and repetition. Each deliberate rehearsal leaves a chemical trace that makes peace come faster the next time. That's how calm becomes a learned reflex instead of something we have to fight for. The stress system was designed for short bursts of uncertainty, not constant surprise. Predictability tells the brain there's no emergency. Simple, steady habits, going to bed at a similar time, staying hydrated, taking 5 quiet minutes each morning, signal the nervous system you're safe. Nothing unexpected is happening. These signals lower cortisol and raise oxytocin and serotonin, restoring balance to digestion, focus, and mood. Predictability doesn't mean rigid control. It means offering the body familiar rhythms that it can trust. Even one predictable act, a morning walk, a call with supportive friends, or a regular check-in anchors the day. The body organizes around those cues and relaxes, freeing energy for connection and joy. When we anticipate stress, 2 opposing chemical streams move through the body. One, powered by adrenaline and cortisol, prepares us for action. It quickens the heart and heightens focus. The other, fueled by oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, creates calm and steadiness. In past gatherings, we might have lived mostly in that first stream, always performing, pleasing, or protecting ourselves. Recovery helps the body rebalance. Every time we share laughter, breathe deeply, or feel genuine empathy, those calming hormones rise. They travel through the bloodstream, telling every organ, you can stand down. With practice, the body begins to release the chemistry of calm first instead of last. That's real progress. The nervous system learning to trust safety before danger appears. Memories are stored not only as images, but as patterns of sensation. The body remembers what it felt like to be tense, joyful, ashamed, or overwhelmed. When we step into a familiar situation, those sensations replay automatically, creating a mood that can seem to come from nowhere. That's because the amygdala and the hippocampus, 2 brain regions that store emotional memory, are quick to link new moments to old experiences. This is why Even cheerful occasions can feel heavy. If past events were chaotic or painful, the body braces before anything happens. The chest tightens, the stomach drops, and the brain says, I know this story. Awareness breaks that automatic link. When we notice the sensation and name it, this is just an echo from before. The prefrontal cortex steps in to calm the alarm. The chemistry that fuels anxiety begins to fade because it has no new threat to feed. Each time we experience an old cue but respond differently, the body updates its records. The hippocampus writes a new entry, peace instead of turmoil. That's what true emotional rewiring looks like. Biology catching up to healing. Human beings are designed to regulate through one another. When we stand near someone who is calm and kind, our breathing naturally slows to match theirs. This process, called co-regulation, begins in infancy and continues our whole lives. The vagus nerve, which runs from the brainstem to the heart and gut, listens for these cues of safety. When we hear a gentle tone of voice, see soft eyes, or sense genuine care, the nerve signals the body to relax. Heart rate slows, digestion restarts, and stress hormones drop. That's why connecting with calm people before a stressful event matters so much. A short phone call, a brief text, even remembering someone who supports you can shift your chemistry. The body reads that memory as proof that safety exists. Within recovery communities like ours, this shared regulation becomes one of the most healing forces. Every supportive conversation rewires the brain's belief about human behavior. People can be safe. Over time, we stop borrowing calm and start generating it. The nervous system learns from every peaceful interaction, strengthening pathways of trust and stability. For many of us, excitement and anxiety used to arrive hand in hand. Relief came only after the event was over or after giving in to something that numbed the tension. The brain learned that the fastest way to feel safe was through a quick chemical release. But there's another kind of pleasure, the quiet satisfaction that comes when calm and connection coexist. When we feel proud, grateful, or at ease, the brain releases serotonin and endorphins, gentle, stabilizing chemicals that create steadiness instead of spikes. These slower waves of reward feel different. They don't crash, they unfold. Over time, the body begins to prefer them because they feel genuinely nourishing. This is how the brain's reward center, the nucleus accumbens, relearns what joy feels like. It stops chasing intensity and starts choosing peace. Soon, we begin to look forward to gatherings, not for escape, but for the chance to experience connection without chaos, to feel alive without needing adrenaline. That shift marks deep healing. Pleasure and peace no longer compete. They cooperate. Something profound happens when we live through a few events without the old chaos. What once felt dangerous starts to feel open again. Laughter returns unforced. Conversations unfold without pressure. The nervous system begins to associate celebration with safety. That's neuroplasticity in motion, the brain's ability to rewire based on experience. Calm experiences activate serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine in balance. The old stress chemistry, cortisol and adrenaline, quietly takes a back seat. Instead of survive, the body now hears connect. Instead of prepare, it hears breathe. Each time this happens, the brain's memory centers record the new outcome. The hippocampus stores it as living proof that peace is possible, and the amygdala relaxes its guard faster the next time. This isn't one big breakthrough, it's 1,000 quiet confirmations. Over time, the biology of fear becomes the biology of trust. Emotions move through groups, like wind through tall grass. When one person relaxes, others unconsciously follow. When tension spikes, shoulders rise across the room. This process is called emotional contagion, a neurological reality where mirror neurons in the brain fire in response to others' expression and tone. Our bodies literally synchronize. Heart rates align, breathing patterns shift, and stress hormones can spread collectively. That's why some gatherings feel heavy, even when nothing dramatic is happening. Our nervous systems are reading subtle cues, the pace of speech, eye contact, the rhythm of laughter, and copying them. Awareness breaks this automatic chain. When we feel energy rising, we can pause and ask, is this feeling actually mine? That small amount of self-awareness re-engages the prefrontal cortex and calms the amygdala, lowering cortisol and restoring clarity. And here's the hopeful part. Calm spreads just as easily as stress. When we steady our breath, speak slowly, or show kindness, we broadcast safety. Others' mirror neurons respond in kind. This is why recovery communities like ours feel different. Calm is practiced until it becomes contagious. At shared events, we can carry that same quiet frequency with us, anchoring ourselves and those around us in steadiness. For many years, the body linked celebration with excess. That burst of novelty and stimulation released dopamine in the brain's reward centers. Dopamine spikes feel thrilling, but they fade fast, leaving a hollow crash. Through recovery, the reward system learns a new pattern. Moments of connection, gratitude, and laughter release serotonin and oxytocin, chemicals that build slowly and stabilize mood. The prefrontal cortex begins to strengthen its control over impulsive circuits, while the ventral striatum starts pairing serenity with satisfaction. Over time, the brain's idea of reward changes. Instead of chasing excitement, it starts to prefer steadiness. Instead of longing for the crash that follows stimulation, it finds quiet joy in balance. This is neuroplasticity in action. Neurons rewiring through lived experience. When peace feels better than panic, the choice to stay calm becomes effortless. Every journey, whether across town or across the country, teaches the body something new about safety. Travel challenges predictability. New beds, new sounds, unfamiliar schedules. These disruptions activate mild alarm signals from the amygdala. But when we meet those changes with awareness, the body adapts quickly. Simple anchors, steady sleep, hydration, quiet moments, gentle routines signal the parasympathetic system that safety is intact. Cortisol levels settle, digestion steadies, heart rate variability improves. Each successful trip becomes proof that calm is portable. When we return home in balance, the nervous system records the full sequence: anticipation, experience, recovery, and updates its internal map. The next time we travel, it remembers. That is the foundation of confidence. Lived experience that peace travels with us. No nervous system heals in isolation. We regulate through one another. A kind glance, a steady tone, or gentle humor sends powerful cues of safety. Inside the body, those cues raise oxytocin and lower cortisol. Blood pressure decreases, muscles relax, breathing deepens. These are measurable shifts, the physiology of trust. Within recovery communities like ours, this process compounds. Repeated safe interactions strengthen neural networks for empathy and self-regulation. Over time, we internalize that steadiness. The calm we once borrowed from others becomes our own baseline. The brain's insula, responsible for interoception, learns what safety feels like, making it easier to return there even when the world is unpredictable. Every conversation, every shared moment of understanding rewires both brain and body toward peace. Even after years of progress, the world can still feel loud and noisy. Noise, deadlines, and constant stimulation reignite the body's stress response. When that happens, it's not failure. It's the nervous system rehearsing an old pattern. We can meet it with curiosity. Which inner part is reacting? The one that learned the world can't be trusted? The one that still believes chaos is coming? By recognizing the part rather than fighting it, we engage the compassionate self. We can say, I see you trying to keep me safe. Thank you. That simple act reduces activity in the amygdala and releases soothing neurochemicals like GABA and oxytocin. Each return to awareness is a neural repetition, the same principle that builds any skill. Practice doesn't make perfect, it makes familiar. And in time, calm becomes the natural rhythm beneath the noise. The nervous system is always mapping. It tags people and places as safe, unsafe, or uncertain. Early in recovery, that map is small. Only a few environments feel secure. Each calm experience expands it. Airports, workplaces, and celebrations gradually shift from red to green as the body gathers proof of safety. Physiologically, this shows up as improved heart rate variability and faster cortisol recovery. Psychologically, it appears as confidence and presence. Our internal parts participate in this mapping too. Protectors no longer have to stay on high alert when they trust the self to lead. Every mindful breath redraws the boundary between fear and peace. Bit by bit, we construct a new internal geography, one where connection feels safe and rest feels earned. There comes a moment when celebration finally feels uncomplicated. Music plays, people laugh, and instead of scanning for danger, the body joins the joy. Nothing is forced, nothing is denied. The same hormones that once amplified tension now support relaxation. Dopamine still rises, but alongside serotonin and oxytocin, creating harmony instead of spikes. Sometimes a cautious part hesitates, remembering the old chaos. We can thank it for its vigilance and remind it, joy doesn't require danger. The nervous system hears that reassurance and releases its grip. What once felt like a battlefield becomes a dance floor of presence and peace. Confidence grows quietly. It reveals itself in everyday moments, packing a suitcase without anxiety, attending a gathering without rehearsing, saying yes without dread. The body's alarm no longer dominates. This isn't arrogance, it's harmony. The prefrontal cortex and amygdala are communicating clearly. In parts work terms, self and protectors are cooperating. Protectors trust that the self will handle what comes, and the self honors their care. That cooperation creates embodied trust, the kind you feel in your breath, your posture, your ease. Confidence is simply calm in motion. The world hasn't changed, but our relationship to it has. Gatherings that once felt tense are now opportunities to practice presence. The same science that once explained our pain now explains our peace. The nervous system that once braced for loss now anticipates calm. Each shared event reinforces a new truth. We can belong without blending in. We can connect without collapsing. We can celebrate without chaos. Inside, our parts rest. The vigilant ones, the performers, the protectors, all trust the self-steady guidance. In learning to survive triggers in shared events, we discovered something far greater than survival. We discovered participation, authentic, joyful, grounded participation in a world that once felt unsafe. And the body at last knows it is safe to be here. Thank you for listening.